Hey, what's up guys, it's me Naren Ramesh, coming to you from Team Cubelelo. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how you should ideally simulate your online competitions. Let's get into it. So this is what an ideal attempt would look like. As you can see, I'm opening up the Google form and entering all my details into it, as would take place in a Cubelelo online competition. After this, I am preparing to solve. There are three main components to this setup. The first is the laptop, the second is a cube cover, and the final one is optional, which is a stack mat timer. All of these will enable you to have the best competition simulations possible. First, let's start with the setup using a stack mat timer. Ideally, you should be using a stack mat or similar timer. So if you do have one of those, such as a stack mat or a U-shin timer, use that timer, as it will make your results more accurate. In this setup, the laptop should have a split screen with the form on one side and a timer that has an inspection setting on the other. The timer with the inspection setting will act as the judge in your competition simulation, as it should be able to call out 8 and 12 seconds, informing you when those times are reached. Next, the cube cover. If you don't have a dedicated cube cover, don't worry. As you can see in this simulation, I'm using an overturned bowl as a cube cover, and it is working quite well. The reason the cube cover is so important is because it eliminates the possibility of the competitor looking at the puzzle before they start inspecting. While it is possible to start inspecting immediately after you finish scrambling, we do not recommend this, as often distractions can allow the puzzle to lay completely unattended for some time, which could be used as time to look at the puzzle before inspection is started. The final component of this setup is the stack mat. The stack mat should be directly in front of the competitor and should be used in the same way it would be used in a competition. The same rules and regulations should be followed as well, which I will get into later in the video. Next, let's talk about competitors that don't have stack mats. To you guys, do not worry. You can compete without a stack mat. Just ensure that you are extra cautious to not break any rules. We will be going over the best methods of timing yourself without a stack mat in online competitions. The main difference between this setup and the one previously with the stack mat is the placement of the laptop and the usage of the laptop timer. Instead of the timer just being for inspection, the timer should also be for timing. In this case, I used it as an inspection timer and as a timer for the solve as well. You might be wondering, why did I tilt the laptop? This is to ensure that my hands are spread in the fashion of a stack mat, such that I am not breaking any rules or regulations when competing in this way. If you are using a desktop, the same can be done with an external keyboard. Simply tilt it such that you simulate a stack mat. Now that we've covered how to solve in online competitions, let's talk about some of the finer rules and regulations that you need to abide by. When scrambling, it is important to use the WCA orientation, which is green in front and white on top. Not doing this can result in the attempts which had incorrect scrambling being DNF'd. Let's go over inspection. Quite a few competitors we see do not use inspection timers, which is a big problem, especially if you tend to over-inspect quite a bit. We recommend most competitors use inspection timers, as it will allow you to put penalties on your own times if you notice that you have over-inspected. In this case, inspecting from 15 to 17 seconds is a +2 and over 17 seconds is a DNF. Next, let's talk about the stack mat timers. In this case, it's important to abide by all WCA regulations, which include starting and stopping the timer with your fingertips. Not doing this can result in +2 second penalties that can add up if this is done in both the start and stop of the timer. You should also not be touching your puzzle while you are touching the stack mat to start or stop the timer. This can also result in a +2 second penalty. Next, let's talk about keyboard users. In your case, it's important to use all the stack mat regulations while simulating a stack mat as much as possible while using your keyboard. Touching your puzzle while starting or stopping the timer will result in a +2. However, holding the puzzle when starting or stopping the timer may even result in a DNF, as especially for the smaller events, this can be a huge advantage. Finally, the cube cover. If you have not used a cube cover and you are looking at the puzzle prior to inspection, this could result in the DNF of that particular attempt. Finally, let's talk about camera angles. Ideally, your video should have a very clear view of the entire solving setup. A very unclear view of the solving setup could lead to your disqualification in the event, and the same could happen if your video has cuts in it. This means that it is not recorded all at once. So that's it for this video. I hope it will allow you to solve better in online competitions. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video. Bye.